Do you even lift, bro?
Shirts off, sun's out, guns out. You gonna join me in this pool?
Yes, I had a question about that. We'll get to it. We are transmitting live from the Citadel here on Scarif Station. Brad, how's it going, sir?
Well, two things. There's a fly right by me, which is really freaking annoying. And it's hotter than a Banthas ball sack right now here in Virginia. But, besides all that, we're doing good.
That's quite colorful there.
You're welcome.
I have
I wait for the alliteration.
I have that in my mind now. Thanks. Jeez. Yeah. Last time we said we were going to do kind of like a little show and tell. We didn't get to it. I have something that I bought just recently, which I think if I left it at the thrift store, I would not forgive myself. But I'll show it in a few minutes. But we got 2 episodes left. I put a question in the YouTube chat area. If you guys want to answer that, we will take a look at some of your answers later on as the show progresses. But welcome everybody. Let's see who's in the chat. It's funny. I was on Tim Talks last night, and one of the guests on the panel that we were part of also was chasing a fly during the live stream. I find that it's like poetry. It rhymes.
If I smash my computer, you know why.
Yeah. But he was able to vanquish it during the live stream. So good luck to you.
Apparently flies can't see white. I learned that on TikTok.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
You learned it on TikTok?
Or Instagram or one of those.
Excellent. All right, let's say hi to the chat. We've got Captain Wrecked. He has a theory that Quimir, how are we pronouncing that? Kamir? Yes, Kamir was Green Nini's Padawan, so she chose Soul over him in some way. All right. We'll take that. We'll take that. The Max Rebo experience. Smash that like button. Do as Max says. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ubaldo. I got to say it with the Spanish accent. There's no other way to say it. So thank you very much. And speaking of Tim Talks, the panel I was with last night, Mr. Phil, TMNT was on it as well. So thanks, Phil, for stopping by the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Our friend Damon, Mr. Star Trek. Yes. Thanks for stopping by. Who else is here? Oh,
you've been very Trekkie lately.
You know what? I have been very Trekkie.
What's up with that?
You got to kind of step aside every so often. Diversify. That's right. Belinda, happy Saturday to you, my friend. One of our wonderful patrons. Thank you very much, Belinda, for coming on by. And I hope you're having a nice Saturday. It is Saturday evening in most parts of the world. And good old Megan is here. Sore from her workout. Does she even lift, bro? And your favorite and mine, subtle deviancy.
Well, there's My Little Ponies involved. Do I have to say that? I'll just say that.
Well, now he's got. Does the beach scene mirror how Brad and Ro met?
It was my Little Pony speedos I was wearing. He couldn't take his eyes off me.
Oh my God. You're giving him ammunition, but yes, real Ben Maynard. Thank you very much for coming on by. Hello there, new friends. Glad we can connect on Twitter, and I'm glad I can stop by for a live. Yeah, this is we're going to be talking about episode 6 called Teach/Corrupt.
I don't like these titles.
I will talk about that. I think I kind of like them. I don't like them when they split them up. Because obviously the what was that? Destiny and No. Day and Night was supposed to be one episode, of course. And they split it up, 2 half-hour episodes. Dave Richards. Good old Dave. Thanks for coming by. Let's see.
From across the pond.
From across the pond. Yes. So, folks in the chat, like I said, I put up a question in the pinned area up top there. Later on when we ask to see if you guys can answer that question, see where we're at. We have 2 episodes left of the Acolyte. We are going to be talking about episode 6 of the Apple. God, I can't even talk.
Acolyte.
The Appalachian Light. Teach corrupt. I think it's the rum in this coconut drink.
Where were the porgs? Where are the porgs was my question.
Yeah, where are the porgs? We only see the what are we calling them? The elephant mice creatures.
Oh, I don't know what the hell those things were.
Is that one of the creatures that Luke Skywalker is going to suck off later on in
Whoa. Phrasing.
I mean, jeez.
You mean milk?
Yeah. But it does seem like they were playing a little subterfuge there by saying that it was an unknown planet. But you can't pull one over on us, Star Wars fans. What do you think? Do you think that's Octo or is it Octno?
I mean, it really, not that there's much meaning to The Last Jedi anyway, but it really takes away any, like, if he had to use his galactic GPS to get to his ancient Jedi GPS to get to Octo, and these schmucks are already here just like 100 years before that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not Octo, but they sure did make it look like it.
Yeah. So Baldemic seems to be the name of the planet. But here's the thing that I was thinking of, and I said this last night on Tim Talks. You know how when a force comes in and takes over the civilization, they kind of either destroy the churches or the places of worship, and then they raise like new buildings on top of them. I'm wondering too, like if this might be the Sith's version of Octo. It could well be Octo. It's just a different name. And then when the Sith are vanquished, the Jedi get there, and then they change the name back to Octo. I might be reading too much into it, but
again, giving writers too much credit, but there was some KOTOR references in this episode, which was cool. Mm-hmm. And obviously we still have the Cortosis, which is cool. So who knows? Let
me ask you this too, because we watched that interview with Leslie Headland, the one that I sent you via text. And it does seem like she's bringing in some EU material, some little tidbits here and there. And it does also seem like, she's a fan of the expanded universe. And I'm wondering too, if, I know there's a lot of rhetoric on the internet regarding, the questioning her fandom, et cetera, but obviously she's been working with Filoni to kind of, drip in a little, details of that. But what do you think of I guess the infusion of some of this EU stuff into this? I mean, we're getting like little bits of this and that story. What are your thoughts real fast?
I think it's good, like throwing us some kind of bone. And if somebody in the chat can remind me what species it was in the Jedi Temple, there was one of the most famous species from the Knights of the Old Republic game that was sitting there. It was cool to see that one. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I don't think it's going to be the planet from Plagueis, because I think they've completely disregarded Plagueis. So Rakata was the ancient species that's gone, but yeah, Selkath is the one I was talking about. The blue ones with the tentacles in the front of their faces. Yeah, and it was just sitting there. It was cool to see that. Somebody on the staff, I'm not sure if it's Leslie herself, but there's definitely members of that writers group that has some appreciation for the EU. Mm-hmm. So it is nice to see some of those connections.
Yeah, And again, I think out of the two of us, you were a little more steeped in the expanded universe than I was. But I do see a lot of talk on the internet when some of that stuff comes up, and obviously, the helmet made out of the material that shorts out the lightsabers is one of the aspects of that. I don't know. Let's get into the episode. Again, I'm getting confused trying to figure out like is it Osha, is it May? But Osha is the one that wakes up healed.
Yep.
In this episode, some secret hideaway base. Yep. Seems like their Chimere is cooking some pot stickers on the stove there. Looks pretty good. You see May, change, or you see Osha change into May's clothing. She finds one of her knives, and obviously figures that that is her sister's clothing. Because they split up these episodes, the fandom was kind of up in arms when, including me, I'll say that, when they did the whole switcheroo of the twins, and we expected Soul to kind of pick up on it right away, because obviously, you can't fool a Jedi like that. But that didn't happen. This episode kind of answers that question for me, at least. It seems like Soul kind of knew what the twins were doing, right away. He's got some sort of objective for allowing the deception. I guess he wants to get May back to Coruscant in this way. But what did you think of the switcheroo initially?
Well, I mean, I think like everybody else. Well, not everybody else. Some people had no problem with it. I thought it was pretty dumb. But I think I texted you earlier, or like right after this episode came out, I went back and immediately rewatched last week's and this week's. It makes last week's more tolerable. Mm-hmm. Like it should have been one episode. Absolutely, should have been one episode, and we wouldn't have thought for a week that the Jedi were idiots, that they wouldn't see a stupid haircut, as the best disguise ever. Sure. But it kind of redeems the last episode a little bit. Asking for.
Well, Dave has a good point. Did he know? I think he knew. I think we thought that Basil was going to tell him, but the goofy dance, or the little fight that he had with her after she reset Pip seemed kind of like a waste. I think
I don't know, my son loved him, so it's one of those for the kids type deal.
Sure. I don't think Basil. I mean, we thought that Basil was the one that was going to spill the beans on this whole operation, but it did seem like, and I only watched it like 1.5 times. Doesn't seem like Basil's objective was,
I don't know, he just sniffs around a lot.
Yeah, he was just there.
Yeah.
But we do have the fact that I thought that Pip obviously was going to recognize that this was the wrong twin, but unfortunately that didn't come to pass either, because she reset him.
She control alt deleted him.
So what do you think? Do you still feel like, we're 6 episodes in, do you still feel like they're throwing in a lot of mystery boxes and distractions for us as far as story goes?
I think so. I mean, well, yes and no. One thing in one of the opening scenes, there's a lot of Plagueis talk, and as I'm thinking about it, again, I don't want to get my hopes up at all because Disney, but one line that definitely caught my attention both times I watched it, when he talks about how long he's been, like almost like he is much older than what he looks.
You mean like, Chimera?
When Chimera is talking, he's like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for like a long, long time."
And she mentioned, she says, "I don't remember you." He goes, "A long time."
Right, a long time. So, if we want to talk about Plagueis and influencing midichlorians and stuff like that, that could lend itself towards the possibility of him being Plagueis or Tenebris or one of those.
Do you think that they're going to pull from those stories and he's going to turn up to be one of these characters? Or do you think that there's another reveal coming at the very end of the show?
If you said episode 7's another flashback episode,
I think so. Yeah.
I guess we'll know probably after this week, most likely. It would be cool, but I don't know. A lot of us that read the Plagueis book might be let down that it's completely different now.
Yeah, and that's that's going to be a hard pill to swallow, really.
Yeah. Changing his race and storyline and everything.
Yeah. Do you feel like he is the ultimate baddie, or do you feel like they're going to introduce someone new, or do you feel that the ultimate antagonist we've already seen? It's just that we haven't been told yet.
This is just a one. There's no second season of this, right?
At this, yeah. I mean, it was announced as a single series.
Yeah, so I don't know how they could possibly introduce a new character at this point. That'd be really late in the game to do that. So I think it's him.
And I asked you earlier today, and I posted I posed this question on the Tim Talk show that was on last night. The final episode, if it's like mind-blowingly good, will it make you forget that the rest of the series was kind of meh?
So it depends. I think for me, it could. It's for those of us who have not yet completely chalked it up for a loss. I think it could redeem the whole. I want to say the whole series, because some of it was really bad, but it could make it worth it that we watched all these episodes. For those who have chalked it up for a loss a long time ago, no, it doesn't matter what they do in the last episode. It's not going to redeem it for them.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the destruction of lore. How strongly do you agree or disagree with that notion that this series has just took a crap on Star Wars lore in general?
Well, in that interview that you sent me, which I couldn't make it through it, I didn't like the interviewer, and but I hearing what Leslie was saying, she wanted this to be from the bad guys' perspective. The show makes a little more sense when you see that it is from, according to her, from the bad guys' perspective. I don't know if the show lets you know that though. But according to Leslie, this whole series is from the bad guys' perspective, which is why the Jedi are being vilified like they are. I don't think the general public knows that it is, so I think it does. It does definitely hurt the lore, and I don't know. Or maybe this is like one of those situations for us where it's like never meet your heroes, and maybe I don't know. We grew up idolizing the Jedi as what they called them, protectors of peace and justice and all that, but come find out they're just corrupt. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that argument before. I don't think that's the case. I think in the long run, I think Star Wars and Jedi, it's one of those groups of characters that should, Jedi are good. There might be one or two bad apples, but I think for the most part, Jedi are good. They've been, like Obi-Wan said, they've been protectors of peace and freedom in the galaxy for, generations, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's an interesting time in Star Wars, I guess. This is the tail end of the so-called High Republic. But
it's the same thing that, that I think this all started with Luke in episode 8, where he used your favorite word, talking about the hubris of the Jedi and how they were responsible for their own downfall and all that kind of stuff. And we've talked about this in the past. I think we need to stop focusing on that. And they just got outmaneuvered by a Sith Lord the entire time. I don't think they were supposed to be just this corrupt group. So I'm with you. I'd rather them stay, pillars of
Sure.
morals.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think of Soul? And his I guess his kind of it's actually coming a little bit more into light how strongly he appreciates or cherishes Osha. And obviously for a group of Jedi that are not supposed to have attachments, I mean, he seems to have a really strong attachment to her in particular. And there's the question of Kamir really analyzing that relationship when he comes out of the water. She's got Osha's got his lightsaber, and he's threatening him as he's coming out of the water, and he says, did you kill Soul? And he's like, no. And did you kill my sister? So it's interesting that that she actually asked about Soul first rather than her own sister. So I see almost like a kind of like an internal battle between Soul and Kamir. Not sure exactly what that relationship is, but there are some really great theories out there as far as maybe Soul. Here's the other thing too: that Soul had a bad dream about Kamir using dark side forces, just like Luke and Ben Solo in that aforementioned movie that you were talking about a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I just think they have too much explaining to do with 2 episodes left. I think they wasted a whole lot of time in the first few episodes, and offing all these other Jedi could have been done in 1 episode. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, can we all just get along? Yeah, I don't. I think they've got. I think there is something with that relationship, but with 2 episodes left. And again, I told you I don't like flashbacks being used to show that relationship, but they've just got too much story left and too much explaining to do for 2 more episodes, unless these are longer episodes, which I doubt they will be.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're longer episodes. I'm hoping the last 2 episodes are at least 45 minutes, because it does seem like, this episode was short, but it was jam packed, script wise. There's a lot of dialogue in the episode.
I do like. I mean, I told you earlier in the week this was my favorite episode so far.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Because I just like the mental chess game, or the verbal chess game that Kamir is playing. That's the sort of stuff that I want to see in Star Wars. I didn't think, and there was a cheesy element to him being in the water, and then if you're not going to get in with me and all this kind of stuff. I don't know about the sexual innuendos, why those were there necessarily, but the fact that he was playing her and gave her the freedom to choose to leave the entire time, but she chose not to, so he kept messing with her mind. It was more dialogue driven than the other episodes, not cheesy action. Yeah, we won't talk about the light whip, but whatever.
Well, it's funny because the light, I posted that the light whip was very unceremonious. I want to get back to something that you mentioned. When Osha is following Kamir and then he goes into the water, before he takes his clothes off to go into the water, he's wearing dark colored costume. He goes into the water, he takes that off, he goes into the water, he bathes, and when he comes out, he's wearing white colored tunic. And again, this could be us giving the writers too much credit, but do you think that there is a significance there? Obviously, the bathing of water signifies a new birth, baptism, that sort of thing. But the fact that he goes in dark and comes out light, I think has some significance. And I'm not sure if we see what that means at this point. Again, freaking 6 episodes in, and we're still kind of guessing on some of the major strokes here.
I would say laundry day. think it was just laundry day. That was his one white outfit. The rest are dark. He knows it's time to wash the laundry when he has to wear that one. I didn't pick up on that one. I did. I was wondering if the scar had some significance on his back. It was a line and then split off into two lines, two curved lines.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if his scar had some significance when we talk about twins and stuff like that, or one thing being separated into two things. I didn't know if that had any significance, or again, we're both just looking too much into it, and it's just, I don't know.
I mean, they also, there's some people that are also talking about that particular aspect of the costume change. And you had Luke Skywalker wearing a black suit in Return of the Jedi. And then, that flap that opens where he shows a little bit of his purity on the inside. Again, in that film, I can safely say that it was done on purpose. I'm not sure.
You think that I've always wondered if that was that, because I didn't hear that till years later.
Right.
It makes sense in retrospect, but I think somebody may have been giving them a little bit too much credit for that one too. I think it just happened to work out that way, but I don't think personally, and that's my favorite film. I don't think there was that much thought put into it, but who knows? I've never heard George or any of the actors or producers talk about that particular topic as if it was intentional, but maybe it was.
Yeah, maybe. If I find an interview, I'll shoot it over to you.
It'd be cool. I mean, if we can find some proof that it was intentional, but I always thought that somebody just picked up on that years later
after the fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the relationship between Soul, I guess the little triangle here, Soul, Kamir, and then, and Osha?
I don't know. That's, again, I'm confused on it, because unless Saul is just playing dumb, which he kind of has been the entire show. Someone mentioned that in the chat. Kamir just seems way more familiar with him than he does Kamir. But Kamir really knows that their relationship, Saul's and Osha's, pretty well. So it's strange to me. Again, a lot of explaining. Like, we're hoping there should be some action in the last couple episodes, but they've got a lot of explaining to do with the plot and the storyline.
Yeah, and I feel like they spent too much time trying to confuse the audience by throwing in all these mystery boxes, all these.
But none of them were mysteries. Red herrings. Those were all easily like. The fact that there was two of them.
Right.
And then Kamir being the guy in the helmet, and then her cutting her hair off. Like none of that is adult mystery worthy. So no, I mean, like, whoever Kamir is interesting, but we're at the end of this series now. Right.
And again, I think if they jam pack a lot of information in these last two episodes, the rest of the series is going to look a little weird. It's almost like when you're mixing quick chocolate milk, and then you mix it and you drink it, but at the bottom you get all the powder.
Right. And the horrible attempts at humor. If they were trying to go from lighthearted to dark, I guess that's what they were doing, but it was just cheesy to semi-dark.
Yeah. And I think next week we're getting the flashback episode. I really, I'm still curious, even this late in the game. I'm still curious to see what happened with the witches. I'm curious, because I honestly, I don't think the Jedi had anything to do with that, but maybe one Jedi did. Maybe Venestra, maybe Soul. I don't know. There was this other thing too. Is, remember, who was that? One of the mothers, the one with the horns. What's her name?
Yep, that one.
So she was able to control Torben for a minute.
Yeah,
and I wonder if she did the same thing to set up the Jedi and did something to Soul to be able to, and then Soul is the one that kind of killed all the witches, and he woke up in a drunken stupor, didn't know what was going on, and by then it was too late.
Oh, there's no there is no cause of death for that pile of bodies in that episode. So I mean, I guess this will be what is the flashback. What really happened? I don't know. Was Kamir there somehow? I don't know how he would have been.
I mean, there are some people that are saying that he was there. There's the Star Wars Meg has a video where there's like a figure that's hooded, like in the background, there's a wide shot, and you can kind of see that it's not a female figure. It's more manly than anything else. But again, probably giving too much credit to the writers.
Yeah, at this point. Your red circles and arrows on our thumbnails. That's about it.
Yeah. What else? Let's see. The name of the title, Teach Corrupt.
Are you wondering if these are supposed to be, if the words are flipped from what you think they are? Like if Kamir's doing the teaching and Saul's doing the corrupting, since this is from the antagonist point of view, from the Sith point of view, if it's supposed to be backwards.
Yes. It does seem that way. And then like you said earlier, I mean, he gave her a choice to leave or, stick around. And when he gets, I mean, he was still in the water, and he's telling Osha to, you got good form and raise your back elbow a little more.
So he's teaching.
He's the one that's teaching.
Right. So how is Saul corrupting then?
Yeah.
Or is Kamir doing both?
I don't know. Saul could be corrupting May.
They didn't have a whole lot of inner besides him pretending that she was Osha.
Yeah, the awkward hug in the ship.
That was very strange.
What else? Yeah, it was a little bit more, technical. The ship started to flash, and she needed fixing. I don't know. There wasn't a lot there to sink your teeth into as far as corruption. So who knows? Maybe Kamir is doing both.
Yeah.
But I like your idea better. If it was written different.
We'll see. So how much is Vernestra hiding at this point?
And here's the thing. I had posed a question regarding her character because, again, I'm not too into the High Republic. Somebody said that if they turn out to make her like a really bad guy, then that's a slap in the face to the folks that read the books, that fell in love with her character. She was supposed to be, I don't know, someone who's not dark side centric, if you will. But who knows? I mean, I definitely don't trust her. She's hiding something. She knows more than she's letting on. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely doesn't want anything to escalate up past her level. I mean, she's squashed it a few times. So it seems like she's got some skeletons in the closet. Besides, I don't know.
She was talking to a senator before that other Padawan kind of jumped in. So for them not being like too politically motivated, she seems to throw that concept out the window. But I mean, who knows? Like you said, this could be the beginning of the hubris, as you call it, or as certain director called it.
Yeah. My buddy Ryan.
Let's see what people are saying. The people I know said they would be really, really mad. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I was also asking some other folks that are fans of the High Republic, and if they made her character bad. But it's funny though, because I mean, from the beginning, she doesn't seem like a very sympathetic character. She seems like she's hiding something. She seems like she's a little off kilter. Like I said, she portends to know more than she's letting on. And I don't trust her.
Yeah.
I don't trust her at all.
Ben, did you read the High, or is there anybody in the chat that read the High Republic? Was she that boring and dry in the books, or is this the acting that's making her like that?
Yeah, good question.
I don't know. I seriously thought you could fall in love with a character that acts like she does.
Yeah.
What else has she been in? I don't even know who she is. I mean, besides being with Leslie.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen her in any other things too, but again, maybe this is the way that she's being instructed to deliver her lines, and we'll know in the next 2 episodes. I don't know.
Good God. She was in the Hunger Games.
I only saw the Hunger Games, the first one, up until the first battle when the first child was killed. And I must not have been in a mood to see children killed.
That's kind of the whole point of the whole series.
Yeah.
Well, but I can see where you're coming from.
She played Rue.
Russian doll.
Yeah. Again, that's another Headland project, the Russian doll, which was supposed to be pretty good. But I've not heard. Let's see. What is even my co-host on my podcast said he's not sure how he would feel if she turns bad. He said the main accurate thing from the books was her having the whip and hyperspace sickness. Well, at least they brought that on.
Well, okay. So they threw that one line in there. Good job.
I had a theory too. You know how Venestra, when she was inspecting the dead bodies after the battle, she kind of, the first use of the whip, she had the giant moth, split in 2 as it flew towards her. I guess she felt it and she knew it was coming. She turned around, used her whip, and killed it. I almost feel like she's been on this planet before, and I would venture to say that she might have been on the planet before to kill Kilnaka, to keep him quiet.
No, yeah, God bless you, man. Like you are trying.
I'm trying.
That 1 second was in there so they could get that shot on the trailer. That's the only reason that shot was there. And what's up with that dweeb that was working with her? And how did that dweeb find out all the stuff about the killer, that there was one person attacking all these people, and
right,
that he was strong and I don't know.
That his senses, that he was erratic. His fighting style was erratic.
You got that from a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not in the forensics, but I don't think you could tell that much from that pile of bodies.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows?
She played Rue. Wasn't Rue the little kid? Wait, maybe I forgot who Rue was. I thought Rue was the little kid.
Who knows? All right, chat. That question up on top, 2 episodes left. How are you guys feeling? We're going to ask you guys how many pips out of 10 pips, how many pips would you give this episode? Oh, Costume Co says, yes, she was Rue and grew up.
How old am I? How old is Hunger Games? She did a better job in Hunger Games.
I'm going to have to Google. It's funny. All right. Dave Richards says, at this point, it is safe to say that all these characters are carrying secrets, and we got 2 episodes to find out.
That's
leaving a lot to 2 episodes. Yes, we are. I think that's one of the things that annoys me. Phil last night said that this show is kind of a hot mess, narratively speaking. I tend to agree.
Is this okay? So it's probably a rhetorical question, but now that we're 75% done, is this show at all what you thought it was going to be? from when they first announced it, and then leading up to it. Is this at all what you thought it was going to be?
No, not at all. I think I was probably disappointed 2 episodes in. I mean, it was they dropped the first 2 episodes at once, and I don't know. It was to me, it was like Star Wars light. I mean, we talked about the first 2 episodes. It looked great. The soundtrack was great, but really didn't care about these characters. Obviously I was really excited when the trailer dropped, the official trailer, because it looked really dark and mysterious, and it was going to be cool, a cool little mystery. But they pulled the rug from under us. It wasn't really a mystery. They didn't kind of structure the story that way. And I don't know how they're structuring the story at this point. And again, I don't feel, maybe this series would have benefited from an all episode drop, so we can kind of, put 2 and 2 together from beginning to end. But I think, some of those story points and narrative elements are still there, that I don't think dropping all the episodes at once are going to improve the quality of the writing, for one. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if even dropping them all at once would have. I don't know if people would have made it past episode 3 or 4, even if they did drop them all at once. I don't know if they would have thought it worth it to keep watching. But yeah, it's not the same at all. I didn't. I thought it was going to be much darker. I thought it was going to be, focused on. I think someone said it in the chat. Focused on what the Sith were doing at that. Like, how do you operate in the shadows for 1,000 years, and how do you mess with the Jedi for 1,000 years without totally revealing yourself? I thought that's what it was going to be, not this.
And again, we're more than halfway through, and I really don't care for these characters, which is a shame, because I mean, I started to like Jackie. Her fighting style was great, and I think she would have been a great character going forward. But I don't know. It's too bad. It's too bad. Yeah, Dave Richards says it's just too dull and instantly forgettable. I kind of tend to agree.
All right, we've been comparing it with Boba Fett the entire time. Which one? You're given 2 choices. Disney Plus gives you 2 choices of what to watch. Which one do you watch?
Probably Boba Fett, only because there are characters in there that I recognize and that I know. Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a hard one.
We'll see. We'll see in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have done I don't know if I could do any more back to tanks.
Right. No more back to tanks.
The flashbacks were a little bit too much for me.
Yeah. Let's see. Hot take. Jackie getting killed was way more emotional for me than the twins have been.
I mean, that was a moment right there. And those 3 punches were quick. Like that was a good death.
Yeah. And like I said, the choreography of that fight was really great. I still don't think, obviously they said that they were going to try and match the Duel of the Fates. I don't think they've done it. I think the Duel of Fates, to me, still reigns supreme as far as lightsaber battles. But, we got 2 episodes left. Maybe they'll blow our socks off.
They said that they were trying to match that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. That was one of the better parts of the whole thing.
Yeah.
For me.
And it's funny because in the fall we are getting the other show, Skeleton Crew. And, out of these 2 shows, when they were first announced, I think I was more excited about the Acolyte because of the nature of the story and the theme and how, kind of dark and gritty it was going to be. I haven't been too impressed by this show, and now that I see some leaked images of the Skeleton Crew, I think it's going to lean a little bit more towards the younger audience, more than I care to admit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right.
Don't have much to look forward to right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, we'll see what happens next Tuesday. Again, I'm really curious to see what happened on the Witch's Planet, and see what else they pull out of their sleeves. But what is out of everything, what are the one or two story elements that are really that you're really curious about finding out more?
Who is Kamir? I think that's the best mystery of the whole thing. I don't care about the twins at all. And I guess, I don't know, Vernestra and Saul's, I don't know. I guess getting the full picture of whatever happened 16 years ago.
Yeah.
But not that much. I don't care that much.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, we agree with you. It's very lukewarm with this. Again, I'm curious to see what actually happened with the witches. I thought for me, out of all the episodes, I think episode 3, the one that was supposed to supposedly break Star Wars into a million pieces, for me that was my favorite episode, because I like the different interpretations of the Force. You and I talked about how that's kind of intriguing, from a Force religious perspective. So I think that was pretty cool. But if we get a flashback, I'm interested in finding out what happened. Again, I really don't care about the twins. I do care about the relationship between Soul and Kamir.
Are we sure the flashback is even that? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like they almost just dropped I don't know. They had that episodes, and I feel like they just dropped the idea of the witches completely.
Yeah, I think so too, especially because if we're getting a flashback, it's like really late in the season. It should have been a couple of episodes before, or just leave that. They should have just left that as one long episode.
Yeah,
and then just deal with it. What's up, Nicole? Nicole's in the chat. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I give how many pips did you give this episode? You said it was your favorite. Yeah, let's give away our pips.
Oh, they're gonna give me crap for this. I gave this one 7 pips.
7 pips. All right. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of been consistent in the 6 and 7. I think we've had a couple of low ones, but all right, 7 pips. I unfortunately give this one 5 pips. I didn't. I don't think it moved the needle a lot. And again, I think my anticipation, as far as finding out more, at an episode 6, really is kind of, I'm itching at the bit to find out more.
This
like
should have been in episode 3 or 4. They all the stuff that they could have packed way more in those first few episodes. This would have been great as probably, like I said, episode 3 or 4. But to me, it felt like the most Star Wars of all the episodes.
What is the what's the I'm doing some psychoanalyzing here on the titles of the episode. So you have the first one called Lost and Found, second one Revenge Justice. The first one's only called Destiny. The second one is, and then the fourth and fifth is Day and Night, which should have been one episode. We've got Teach and Corrupt. If we go through the episode names, I like that double word play on the episode names. We're supposedly getting a flashback with the witches. What's the opposite of Destiny that would couple this episode with episode 3, where we see the witches again? So I'm wondering if these directors, directed one episode and then just split it up. And then we're getting the second part of Destiny way down in episode 7, which I think is a crime. But what do you think? What would be the opposite of Destiny?
Choice, free will,
fate,
chaos. No, fate and destiny are pretty much
right. Destiny.
I would say it's either chaos or, like I said, free will. I don't know. None of those really have a ringtone.
Yeah.
Afternoon lunch. Finally / over.
Oh my God. I got to write that down because that's going to be finally over. That'll be the final thumbnail for our review here. That's too funny. All right. So again, it seems like you said this a couple of episodes ago on ScarifLive. We're in the 5s and 6s and 7s. Still, workable. Still curious. We'll see what happens. I think you said it was a 7, but I can tell in your face it's a reluctant 7.
It is like I don't know. Well, I mean, I told you I was tired to be. But maybe I'd be, if I wasn't, I'd be a little more positive. But it is a reluctant 7. I was just thinking about it as you were talking. Like, it's the difference between a good show and what we're getting. Like a good show. Like my wife and I are like rewatching Walking Dead the first couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like the entire season is good. Like each episode is good. And not everyone's action packed, Walking Dead. There were some times where you never even saw zombies. But the whole season was good.
Mm-hmm.
Until that one went off the rails later on. But, those first couple seasons, it was the entire thing, kept you engaged. And like, you shouldn't have to say, oh, well, I don't mind the second half of this or the last third of this. That's not the signs of a good show.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to enjoy the entire season.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But it really has been like pulling teeth watching this series. We're going to watch it because we're going to talk about it and discuss it. But it really has been a bit of a chore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But 2 episodes in, obviously we're vested in finishing this up. And cool beans.
Yeah, I mean, when it almost seems like work talking about it at this point.
Right. Yeah.
It's disappointing.
It is disappointing. Real fast, we recorded an episode a couple of nights ago, and I wanted you to give the folks a tease because it's going to turn out to be really, really fantastic.
Yeah, let's end this one on a good note. So we had a forensic psychologist on, and I believe one of Roe's good friends, Dr. Demuth, and we talked. We've been hinting at this one for a little while now. Roe came up with this idea for fear leading to anger, anger leading to hate, and hate leading to suffering, and we wanted to dive deeper into that topic. How did Anakin fall like he did? How does his story stack up against mythology and psychology? And he's a follower of Carl Jung, so we talked about a lot of psychological issues and how Anakin exhibited all those, and we even went beyond that to Vader and even to Luke and stuff like that. And I said it to Roe. I think that was probably my favorite episode that we've recorded, and I hope that comes through when you listen to that episode. And I think you're really going to enjoy that.
Yeah, it's he's also an author. He wrote a book called Monsters, and that he spent a lot of time interviewing serial killers and criminals and things like that. So we took it upon ourselves to kind of ask him what some of these qualities that Brad just mentioned, how they manifested themselves in Anakin as a character and Darth Vader. So we really took a deep dive and took advantage of speaking with Dr. Demuth on this aspect of humanity's darker characteristics through the lens of Star Wars and through the lens of Anakin Skywalker. So we are hoping to get that one out at the end of the month. We talked for about an hour and a half. It was a really, really great discussion, and I couldn't get Brad to shut up.
I know. I was texting him all day. I was when he showed me the guy's bio. One, I was mad that I hadn't read his book yet. And again, I believe that was Monsters in Life and Literature, I think was the name of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would probably get your hands on that one. I was mad that I hadn't read that, and but I will be now. And I was texting him questions and ideas all day. I hadn't been that excited for an episode in quite a while. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as we did.
What's up, Juck man? These are two scuttlebutts. Take note. But Ubaldo, that won't be a Scarif Cafe episode because it's a little longer. We are going to be doing another Scarif Cafe episode next week sometime with some new podcast friends. We're going to be talking about some Star Wars fan projects. So we're going to pick a couple of Star Wars fan projects that are our favorite and then just kind of chat about those. So that should be a lot of fun. Excellent. All right. That'll do it. Our discussion on episode 6 of I was almost going to say The Mandalorian. I'm like, wow. Jeez. Of the Acolyte. You see how much of a chore? Same. You see how much of a chore it is?
Consume. Yeah.
Consume. Absolutely.
Raise your hand in the chat if you've never heard of Troops.
Oh my God. Don't make fun of them.
I will.
Now that you know.
Now that I know, I will.
Yes. Too funny. All right, folks. Where can people find you to bug the crap out of you, Brad?
Oh, dang it. So close. So close to getting it right. Come bug me on X. We'll have fun. Excellent. I don't say anything mean on there anymore. I'm done. It's not even worth trolling anymore. No, people take stuff too seriously. It's not even.
Come on, Brad.
All right.
That coffee hasn't kicked in yet, so
I know it hasn't. It's too late now.
Start trolling. All right, folks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this edition of the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. We are part of the Red 5 Network, a collection of wonderful nerds that create content for you to enjoy. If you want to check out some Red 5 Network podcasts and shows, head on over to bio.link/Red5. We like all those people over there. It's a wonderful group of people. And just remember, whether they're on the Red 5 Network or not, please support your local content creator, your local podcast. Interact with them, ask them questions, hit the likes and the subscribes, and just interact with them because obviously, it's nice to kind of have a conversation back and forth and just talk about the stuff that we love and break it down. So that's one of the reasons we created the Red 5 Network. The other one is to support other content creators. So go give them a what's up. If you have any thoughts on what we said on this episode, or I'm opening up the floor too and see if anybody wants to come in and join us next week and for the finale of the Acolyte. Just DM us on the Scarif Scuttlebutt account, and then we'll get you in here and we'll talk about what we think of the Acolyte. But if you have thoughts on what we said tonight, give us a call on the Scarif Scuttlebutt hotline. That's 773-234-8659. Operators are standing by.
You don't have to love everything. You don't have to hate everything. You can just enjoy Star Wars responsibly.
You sure can. And that's the Scuttlebutt. It's always sunny on Scarif, Brad, until it's shady.
Until it's shady.
All right, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Be good.